My name is Molly, and I will be doing the yoga group today. Normally we have a Tuesday group and a Wednesday group that meets at the office, but because of the current situation, we are doing this live, so you can have access to it when you need it. You can comment in if you want to, but you don't have to. You can just be the observer and participate. But this yoga is it's to help create awareness. And right now, especially our sense of uncertainty is heightened. So our sense of fear, our worries, our doubts, everything that's in our headlands it can be really powerful right now. It can be really loud. And what this type of yoga does is help you move down below the noise and shift perception. So when we are further away from the survival emotions, we are allowed to see things through a different lens. So for this practice is based off of trauma-sensitive yoga, hatha yoga, mindfulness-based stress reduction, creative visualization, and art therapy. So it's an integration of multiple tools and approaches that helps connect to noticing, being in the present moment and just noticing what's coming up for you. So I invite you to pull out your art materials if you have them available. And you can use that as an intention or just awareness. What are you noticing? It can be anything that you're feeling, any body sensations, any thoughts, and having whatever materials you have around is okay. You can write. I encourage you to draw if you want to experiment a little bit into creative expression as a form for noticing present moment experience. You're invited to just look at the colors around you and choose whatever stands out to you the most or whatever you're drawn to in the moment. Or you can just begin to write with what you notice. It might be feelings, it might be body sensations. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. This is coming from, not from a headspace so much, but just from a body intelligence, from a place of observation or curiosity. So you're invited to begin to just let the color start to move onto the page however it wants to, knowing there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever feels best to you. And this is just for you. This isn't for anybody else. You don't have to share this with anybody else. We're not making artwork. This is what I like to call heart work. It's coming from the inside self. We're just making what's on the inside visible to the outside. So we'll take a few moments to do this. And if you can do it from a place of observation and not judge, but just allowing whatever wants to flow out, just giving a voice to whatever feelings are coming to the surface, whatever thoughts. And if you want to write down a few words along with it, you can do that too. But one, it just allows any of those emotions, any of those survival feelings, to have a voice. It allows whatever we're feeling in the body to move out onto the page or move out onto writing, so you don't have to be the container to hold it in the moment. You can allow it to go someplace else. So we'll take just a few more moments to come to a close. Again, you don't have to know what's coming up. It doesn't have to look like anything. It doesn't, if it represents something, that's fine, but there's no intention on outcome. It's not about making it look pretty. It's not about having something already in our mind of what we want to put on there. It's about just allowing it to move out into color, line, shape, form, onto the page, however it wants to be. And by doing that, you allow for voice of whatever feelings or emotions, and they may not even have words. Sometimes what we're feeling right now does not have words, and that's okay. So we can do this at the beginning of the yoga session, and then there's opportunity to go back to it at the end. And this just creates an opportunity for awareness of what was coming up for you in the present moment, and just to see if there's any shift or change since the beginning of the session to the end after we're finished. So as you feel ready and start to come to a close, you can go ahead and just put your materials off to the side as you feel ready. So like I said before, this yoga, this type of yoga is about being present. It's about the present moment experience. And the principles of trauma-sensitive yoga align with just noticing, allowing yourself to move out of the headspace of the fear lens and drop below that to just be from a place of observation, from curiosity, to noticing what you're feeling in the body, noticing what feels pleasant to you, noticing and moving in an intuitive way that is not from thinking about it, but from feeling and responding. So as we move through this practice, I invite you to do just that, to notice, to feel into what choices you have, and I'll be offering lots of choices, invitational, throughout the practice, giving you lots of different options to try out and experiment and explore and see what feels right to you. And then being able to take action. If there's anything that feels uncomfortable or unpleasant to you, you always have the choice to ease out of that form and into something that does feel more pleasant to you. So we'll begin by just allowing yourself to come into your space, come into your room using your senses, from where you've been today and what you've already been doing to where you have to go next or what you're doing next. And just allowing yourself to be present. And one way to do that is to bring in our senses. Maybe begin by noticing what your eyes see. So you can take a look around, just inviting in from a place of awareness what your eyes see. In the space that you have, the just for you. Maybe there's textures or colors that are standing out to you. Or you might begin by noticing what your hands feel, bringing in sensation of touch, allowing yourself to just be present in the space, noticing the textures, the colors, the temperatures, just noticing. You may even notice how you're seated and what feels comfortable to you. Allowing yourself to be in whatever upright seated form feels best. You're gonna wanna feel comfortable, so do what you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. Gather pillows or blankets to sit on. You can always shift or move your legs as you need to. So just noticing how you feel in your space. Allowing yourself to gather in your space physically and even energetically. You're invited just to call in, and sometimes it helps just to create the motion, calling in or bringing in all parts of you back from where you've given your time, your energy, your thoughts, your feelings today. We can energetically connect to whatever we give our attention to and become and feel kind of scattered. So just inviting all of your awareness back to self, back to center, back to your breath. Breath moving in and breath moving out. If you'd like, you can now close your eyes or lower the gaze of your eyes. Focusing on or noticing what your ears hear. You might become aware of sound outside your room or outside the space, maybe even outside the building. As you feel ready, you can bring that closer, maybe inside the space, noticing the sounds around you. Becoming aware of your breath. Noticing the sound of the breath. Breath moving in and breath moving out, however it chooses to be is okay. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. In and out the nose or in and out the mouth is your choice. And it's okay if thoughts come up. Thoughts might take you into the future or into the past. Our thoughts travel. So anytime you notice that your mind has traveled or your thoughts have taken you somewhere into a story or thinking about something, you could just gently bring yourself back to the breath. Your breath is your light tool that brings you right back to the present moment. Right back to center. Just noticing your breath, feeling that rise and fall of breath allows you to be right here in the present moment at any time. Where we don't have to be thinking, we don't have to be worrying. Just breathing. So continuing to keep your eyes closed or your gaze lowered, you're invited to allow the eyes to move gently back and forth from the left side to to the right side, creating some gentle bilateral stimulation, and allowing the eyes to move gently over, up and around the eye, crossing over the bridge of the nose, and moving under the opposite eye, moving around over the brow bone and down over the bridge of the nose. So you're creating an infinity sign and just allowing the eyes to move gently back and forth and continuing to cross over the bridge of the nose with each passing. With breath moving in and breath moving out. And eventually, as you feel ready, coming to pause right over the bridge of the nose, allowing the eyes to rest. You're invited to notice any sensations behind the eyes, noticing any sensations of breath along the tip of the nose, the nostrils, inviting that awareness to continue along the roof of the mouth or the soft palate. Just noticing if there's anything unpleasant or uncomfortable, you can always choose to move to something else, or just go back to breath moving in and breath moving out. Inviting that awareness to continue down, noticing any sensations along the throat or esophagus. Feeling any sensations of breath. In and out the nose or in and out the mouth with your breath is your choice. Inviting that awareness as it continues down from the head and the throat, down to the body, down the shoulders, the arms and the hands. Noticing where they feel pleasant to you, resting on your lap or in your lap or at heart center with palms together. Continuing to just be aware of the breath, noticing any sensations through the heart center, the chest, the lungs, the rib cage. You can even place the hands on the body to create more awareness if you'd like. Just noticing. You might even feel the rib cage expand with each inhale along the outsides of the arm or the underneath side of the arm. As you inhale, and then feeling yourself lengthen up as you contract, as you exhale. Continuing the awareness from the chest down to the abdomen. And you might place one hand on the heart center and one hand on the core center. Those group of muscles right around the solar plexus, above the navel, and below the rib cage. This is our core center. These muscles allow us to sit up comfortably tall. And you're invited to feel the breath moving under both hands. Feeling the rise and fall at the same time throughout the torso. With breath moving in and breath moving out. You can continue to breathe in whatever way feels best to you. Just allowing that 3-part breath that moves from in the nose or mouth down to the heart center and the abdomen and the diaphragm, and then back up again. As you gently lengthen up through the torso from the bottom of the tailbone to the top of the head, breath moves easily, sending our brain out of those survival emotions, out of that fight or flight, or freeze, or submit, away from those fears, those worries, those doubts, and into rest and digest, into a place of comfort or calm, of logic, of reasoning. Sometimes we're used to breathing really shallow breaths, especially if we are curled over during the day, like at a desk or a computer, or on a couch, but we're used to sitting more around it. And as we sit more around it, we get these shorter breaths. And when we have these shorter breaths, it signals to the brain that we're in danger or a perceived threat. And it makes our body really anxious or feel angry, or we have these heightened emotions. And sometimes, or not sometimes, but always, if you just change your position, if you just allow yourself to lengthen up as you breathe, it can shift that emotion, it can shift that feeling, because our body's not signaling to our brain that there's something wrong or that we are in danger. So just our breath is our light tool. Just our breath can shift how we feel in the body, how we perceive ourselves, and how we perceive the world around us. We have such great tools within ourselves. And so just noticing breath and focusing on breath. Another tool that can be really helpful during this time when we get into these perceived threat feelings is making our vision wider. As we feel more panic or worry or fear, our perception gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's really narrow. And one quick and easy tool you can use is placing your hands out in front of you with your fingers right in front of your eyes. So you might just take a moment before you do this, take a moment and just notice the space around you. Notice how you see what's around you and how you're feeling. And then bring your index fingers together in front of your eyes, and very slowly start to pull them apart, but continue to look straight ahead so that you're using only your peripheral vision to continue to see your fingers out at the sides. And you can do that as far out as you can go until you can't see them any longer. And then take a moment and notice how when we use our peripheral vision, it widens our perspective. And when our perspective is more widened, we energetically, we emotionally shift how we're feeling within. So just take a moment and breathe into that. If that's something that's comfortable or pleasant for you, you can use that whenever you've noticed that you are feeling a little anxious or a little worried, or those times of uncertainty that are coming up for a lot of us right now. And just doing these simple tools can help shift that perception to feel more calm, more centered. So continue to just be with that breath, feeling that move through the heart center, the chest. You can even do some ratio breath or breathing as another option, where we breathe in for a count, we hold for a count, and then we exhale for a count. And you can do whatever number feels right to you. Whatever allows you to have maybe a little longer exhale, or something that just lengthens the breath moving out a little more, is going to move you that much more into rest and digest and out of fight or flight. And we all have very heightened feelings right now. This practice is good for anyone. This practice is always good because we always have perceived threats going on in our world, and things that do feel uncertain and scary. But we do have tools within us to shift our perception, to see a bigger picture, to create more awareness, which allows for more choices in our world. And if you do this through this yoga practice, this will translate out into your world, your daily life. You will feel into those places of new awarenesses. You will feel those choices in order to tap into that creative problem solving, or more discernment or intuition, rather than the headspace or the head lens of the fears, the worries, the doubts, painting a picture and seeing and shifting things through a new lens. So continuing to focus on your breath. You can even exhale out through the mouth. Notice what that feels like. We hold back through our throat a lot and our voice. And even softening that jaw. When we soften that jaw and exhale through our mouth, that allows the jaw to soften, and on the roof of the mouth, we have this connection that on the soft palate, when we are able to release the tension from our jaw and our mouth, it also releases the tension in our root center. It's connected, and so we can't hold everything tight without having the other held tight. So when we're clenching our jaw, we're also clenching our root. And our root is our place of feeling rooted, grounded, connected into this physical world, and feeling our needs taken care of. And the more we are closed up and tight with that, the more fear that can generate. So just releasing the tension in the jaw can help soften the tension in the sits bones. And softening the tension in the sits bones can help release the tension in the jaw. So So as you exhale out through the mouth, feeling yourself sink a little deeper into the floor, into the pillow. Becoming aware, letting that awareness drop down to the lower abdomen, the hips, down the lower back. You may even be able to feel the breath as you inhale and exhale. Along the bottom, along the spine, the sits bones, feeling your legs underneath you and your feet. Just taking a moment, feeling yourself seated, noticing from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Just taking a moment to feel yourself seated in this form with just your breath, where you don't have to be anywhere else. You don't have to be doing anything else. Release. Breathing out. And if you'd like to extend this a bit further, you can imagine, sense, or visualize some roots extending down from the base of the spine or out each foot, and inviting those roots to move down into the floor and down into the earth, anchoring you here to this place, to this time, right here in this moment that is just for you. Sending down those roots as far as they want to go, moving through the earth, connecting you to that life source energy of the planet, of Mother Earth. You may even visualize, sense, or feel the heart of the earth, of this life source energy as a luminescent crystal or stone, vibrant and rich and full of color. And whatever color it is perfect for you. You're invited to let your roots connect in whatever way feels best, knowing that your roots connect your heart to the heart of the earth. Breathing in and breathing up that life source energy from the animals, the planet, from the trees, the minerals, the forests, the oceans. With each breath, each inhale, letting those roots connect and ground you here, but also know that they can bring up that nourishment to recharge and to renew and to refresh. Even if we can't always get outside when we want to, we can always anchor in our roots and connect energetically, visually. We're great visionaries. Our imagination, our creative visualization allows us to feel, and the body knows no different. We can create the exact same feelings and response that shifts those energetic vibrations in the body. So you're invited to just breathe in, or you can gently bring up, allowing the hands to gather and collect that energy, moving that up to that heart center, extending out into each arm and out into each hand. Extensions of our heart center. You can do that a few times in whatever way feels best to you. Pulling that up and all the way through and around you. Just letting that move out through the top of the head and down and around. Breath moving in from below and exhaling out through the top. Taking a moment, just feeling yourself supported and rooted below you. You can even bring up that life source energy around you, letting the hands move up and overhead, connecting to whatever life source energy above feels right to you. It could be the sun, the moon, the stars. It could be any divine beings, God, Goddess, universal love and consciousness. Just imagine or sensing that as a beautiful ball of light illuminating above you. And you're invited to bring that down or just create intention or just letting the palms come together, sort of creating or completing that circle. Letting the awareness move down through the top of the head, behind the eyes, the nose, the throat, the heart center. Feeling that move out through the back of the shoulder blades, the wings, and out each arm and out each hand. And you can do that a few times again, inviting the arms overhead, sort of a seated sun salutation, letting the palms come together, or taking it a step further and inviting or imagining the light connecting you above, below, and all around you. Breath moving in and breath moving out. You might take a moment. Just notice what it feels like to breathe in this form. In this space that is just for you, where nobody else is invited unless you invite them. Noticing any sensations. We'll continue to move from this space, creating some gentle movement for your yoga practice. If you haven't already, you might begin to just become aware intuitively of what feels right to you. You might start with moving the head over towards the shoulder, becoming aware of any sensations along the opposite side of the neck. Stretching only as far as feels comfortable to you before moving to the other side. Again, just observing, stretching in a way that feels pleasant. Breathing in deeper to anything that feels pleasant to you. This is not coming from a headspace. This is just coming from the intelligence of the body, allowing the body to move in a way that feels comfortable, that feels pleasant. Just noticing what shape the body wants to move and go with that. You might let the chin drop down towards the chest, creating a gentle rocking from shoulder to shoulder. Anything feels unpleasant or uncomfortable, you always have the choice to ease out of that and into something that does feel better. If your legs get tired, you can always adjust the pillows, find a way that does make you feel more comfortable. sensations along the back of the neck and the head. You're invited to bring in sensation of touch if that feels pleasant for you. Using the fingertips to create some gentle circles or gentle touch along the back of the neck. We hold a lot of stress up along the top of the spine. Just creating some gentle touch that feels pleasant to you. Anywhere there's tightness or tension, just creating more awareness. Breathing. You might notice the one side feels maybe a little more tense than the other. It's okay just to notice that each side has different needs. Inviting the awareness to move all the way up to the base of the skull, up along the occipital ridge that runs horizontal, back behind the ears. Just creating some gentle touch along those pressure points, those meridian points that run behind the ears, on top of the ears, in front. Our ears connect us to our thoughts, so we can have a lot of tension and tightness. You might feel comfortable to gently create some touch that feels pleasant to you on the inside of the ears, on the outside, the earlobes, connecting to all those nerves in the body. You might even gently plug the ears and explore breathing in and out through the nose. You can experiment with ocean breath by allowing the breath kind of move from the back of the throat as you breathe in and out, as it mimics the sound of the ocean. Sometimes called ujjayi breath or yoga breathing. My daughter calls it ocean breath. Continuing to explore whatever way feels pleasant to you along the throat, the jaw, opening and closing the jaw a few times, letting the fingertips explore where the upper and lower jaw connect. Exhaling through the mouth. Continuing that awareness along the cheekbones, the sinuses. Breathing into anything that feels pleasant to you, pausing anywhere that feels pleasant to you, over the eyes, the forehead, all the way to the top of the head, to the crown center. On top, along the right hemisphere, the left hemisphere. You can use your fingertips, fingernails. Just exploring your head in a different way than just your thoughts. Know noticing what feels pleasant. Just intuitively letting the body guide in whatever way feels best. Whenever you feel ready, it feels right to you, you can bring the arms back down to center. Continuing to stretch through the shoulders. You can bring the shoulders up towards the ears and back down, creating some gentle shoulder shrugs or shoulder circles. You have lots of choices here. You can move one at a time, really noticing or focusing in on one shoulder at a time. You can move both, or you can alternate. So just notice what feels right to you and go with that. Reversing that anytime you feel ready. You can even extend that if you want to stretch the wings, letting the hands move out in front with palms facing up, bending the elbows, letting the fingertips rest on the shoulders, and circling with the wings. You can create some gentle stretching and balancing for the nervous system. Lifting the chin, curling, creating some gentle, almost cat and cow as you round and come down. And lifting the chin as you come up. With breath moving in and breath moving out. We're good. Reversing that as that feels right. You can even extend both arms, maybe noticing what it feels like to take up a little more space. Letting both arms come up overhead. You can always fold gently at the hip, stretching the arms out in front of you or even walking them out in front of you on the floor. You're invited to walk them to the side. You can keep both hands on the floor if you'd like, or you can experiment with noticing where you want to feel that stretch. Noticing what shape the body wants to move or what sensations you're noticing from the hip all the way up through the top of the fingertips in a seated triangle form. If you'd like an option for your head, you can gaze up towards your hands. With breath moving in and breath moving out. Breathing into anything that feels pleasant. Shifting away from anything that feels unpleasant or painful. You never have to feel stuck. You never have to feel like you have to push through anything. This is not that type of yoga. This is empowerment yoga. And when we do empowerment yoga, when we feel into the body and notice what feels comfortable and what feels right, we're using our intuition, the body's intelligence. We're moving in a way that the body's choosing, that feels comfortable, where you want to feel that stretch. And it may feel different on one side than it does the other. And that's okay. Each side has different needs. And it may want to be moved in a different way. So you're using very intuitive movement from a mindfulness place, from a place of awareness. And you get to just explore and experiment with what feels good, what feels pleasant. Breathing in, breath moving in and breath moving out. Eventually finding your way back up to center, continuing to stretch through the spine and create some gentle circles with the hips, or some gentle cat and cow forms by moving back and forth. Tucking the chin and tailbone down as you round through the back. And then reversing that, letting the chin and tailbone move up as you arch through the back. You can let the hands rest on the knees, or you can gently stretch out to the side as you do the cat and cow form, creating more of a mandala shape or circle. Noticing any sensations around the hip, the lower back. This is where we can hold a lot of fear. This is through our sacral, wraps around our lower abdomen, our hips, and our lower back. This is also our place of creativity. So fear is one of the biggest blockers of creativity, which is kind of ironic because when we're in fear, we need to tap into those creative resources because we're all born creative. Everyone's creative. It's a birthright. We may not have always been encouraged, or we may get being an artist confused with being creative, but we can come up with creative problem solving in order to see a situation or a problem or an idea from a different space than where it started. So fear and creativity live in the same place. Our feelings are stored where our creativity is. And sometimes we hold other people's feelings, and if you're empathic, if you're a highly sensitive person, we take on or bring in what's around us too. So sometimes we have to be really aware of what may not even be ours, that we're holding for someone else, that we are picking up from someone else, that we're picking up from the planet. And we have to cut those cords on a daily, nightly basis in order to release what is not ours, what doesn't belong to ours, what doesn't belong to us. So just noticing and feeling into the area of the lower abdomen and the hips. You can continue to do this in a seated form, or you can move up into a gentle cat and cow stretch if you're ready to move your legs. If you've been seated for a while. Letting the shoulders rest under the wrists and the knees, under the hips. Creating the same movement as you did seated, letting the head and tailbone tuck in as you round. Then reversing that, letting the head and tailbone come up as you arch. Again, noticing what shape the body wants to move, and go with that. You might want to continue with the cat and cow, or you might want to do some gentle stretches out to the side, creating a gentle circle with the hips. Breath moving in, breath moving out. You can stay with the cat and cow form, or if you'd like to, At any time, you can always make your way back into child's form by sitting back on the heels, letting the chest rest on top of the legs, or angling out the knees and letting the chest rest in between the legs. You can rest on your forearms, you can rest on your pillow or blanket. You can let the head rest on the mat or on your arms. You might experiment with just taking a few moments to find a way that feels best to you. The arms can always stretch out in front of you or come down to the side. Breath moving in and breath moving out. This is a form where you don't have to be doing anything. You don't have to be anywhere else. You don't have to be doing anything else. And if it's available, you can let that breath anchor you here to the present moment. Noticing what muscles you don't need to be using right now. Maybe even noticing what it feels like to release the tension in the body or in the muscles as you exhale. Breath moving in and breath moving out. As you feel ready, gently lifting the head, neck, and shoulders. Allowing your hands to help press you back up into tabletop. We'll come to seated on your mat. You can continue to keep your feet on the mat and your knees bent, allowing your hands to assist you in pressing back to laying down. You might take a moment just noticing the floor beneath you, feeling it under your feet, your back, your shoulders, and your head. Taking a moment to notice your breath. You can continue to let the hands rest on the rib cage, or if you'd like, you can extend them out into a T formation at your side. And allowing the knees to fall to one side into a gentle supine twist. If you'd like an option for your head, you can turn it to gaze out over your opposite hand. In your own time, finding your way back to center and over to the other side. Breath moving in and breath moving out. Noticing any sensations. Allowing yourself to move back to center as you feel ready. Continuing to stretch in whatever way feels best to you before we end our yoga practice in Shavasana or rest form, where you can continue to lie on your back, stretching your legs out in front of you. You can lie on your side, or you can lay in whatever form feels best to you to spend the last few minutes of your yoga practice where you can just be. You can make yourself comfortable with a blanket or pillow or eye pillow if you have one nearby. Letting the hands rest on your rib cage or out at your side. Find a comfortable way for your head to rest, and letting the toes point out to the side, or just anywhere that you're noticing you're holding any tension. Breathing into those places and releasing the muscle. Releasing the tension from the muscle with the exhale. This time is just for you. Just you, just your breath. Where you don't have to be anywhere else. Where all your needs are met enough for you to be right here, right now. This is your time and your space to nourish you. Breathe into any pleasant sensations. Noticing where you feel those in the body. And breathe. Breath moving in and breath moving out. If your mind begins to wander, it's okay to just bring it back with the next inhale. And as you feel ready, you might begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Gently bending the knees and finding your way over to your side. You're invited to let your head rest on your arm and your knees move up towards your chest. And continuing to keep your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. Finding your breath. Feeling yourself held, supported, and nurtured. Feeling the floor beneath you support you, hold you, and cradle you. And then eventually, as you feel ready, inviting your hands to help press you back up into seated form. And you might pause here a moment, continuing to keep eyes closed or gaze lowered. And just notice if there's been any shift or change since the beginning of your practice. Maybe in your thoughts, maybe in your feelings, or maybe in your breath. And if not, that's okay too. You're invited to move back to your art materials, back to your original drawing, or you can create a different one and just notice or use the creative expression to move out anything, any awarenesses or any shifts that came up for you. Taking all the time that you need after this practice just to allow yourself to have that space to create that awareness. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you if you came in live and did this along with me at the time, or if you're watching this later. Either way, I really appreciate this yoga journey with you. And thank you for letting me be a part of it. The light in you brings out the light in me. So thank you so much. Namaste.